So watch this.
That can't be real.
What is it?
It's Ebola.
Do you want to hold it?
Kidding me?
No. Just be careful, because it's worth a lot of money.
Shit! Oh! Oh my God. Oh shit!
Please tell me that was insured. I'm so sorry.
Insured? That was priceless. There are only 17 bullets in the entire planet, and every single one of them is locked in a museum.
It's a fake.
But you thought it was an original.
Yeah.
And why? Because the perception of reality is more real than reality itself.
Fresh, never frozen beef. Absolutely nothing better. Oh, of course, you gotta have a Frosty with a burger. Is this set up today? Oh wait, our machines are always working. I've been waiting for this all day. Wendy's fresh, never frozen beef, our Applewood smoked bacon, our brand new bun, our square burger cooked on a flat grill. Amazing, absolutely wonderful. That's a burger. This is exactly the way a great hamburger should be. You got to top it off with a fries and Frosty. Excellent.
Products that got discontinued for solving the problem. Light bulbs that lasted too long. In the early 20th century, some light bulbs could last decades, but major manufacturers agreed to limit bulb lifespans to increase sales, a strategy known as planned obsolescence. Instead of making bulbs better, they made them burn out faster. Microsoft Zune. The Zune wasn't a bad product in some ways. It was ahead of its time. It had features like wireless music sharing before smartphones made it common, but it competed with the iPod, and despite solving many user frustrations, it was eventually discontinued. Google Reader. Google Reader was one of the best ways to follow news and websites in one place. It solved the problem of information overload by organizing everything into a simple feed, but in 2013, Google shut it down despite millions of loyal users. The original Netflix DVD service. Netflix originally solved a huge problem. No late fees and movies delivered to your door. It was incredibly convenient compared to video rental stores. But as streaming took over, the DVD service slowly disappeared, even though many users still preferred it.
We all know that the Rothschilds are one of the richest families in the world. So there's a woman that came out and said that when she was a child, she survived one of the Rothschilds' hunting parties. You heard what I said? So I jumped down the rabbit hole. And there's a theory that says that the movie Ready or Not isn't just a horror movie. They're saying that this movie is loosely tied to a real-life elite family. And the name that people keep bringing up is the Rothschilds. Now think about the plot. A woman marries into a powerful and wealthy family, and on her wedding night, they force her into a deadly ritual to keep the wealth in the bloodline. Sounds crazy, right? But people are claiming that this concept didn't come out of nowhere. They're saying that this concept is inspired by true stories that happened with the Rothschild family. Allegedly, a woman survived something similar. Then you hear statements, allegedly from people connected to agencies like the CIA, saying the real shock isn't what's hidden. It's realizing who actually run things and understanding there's nothing that we can do about it. They say if these rituals aren't completed, everything collapses. Money disappears, power fades, the empire dies. So every generation, the same rules. So what they're saying is the movie Ready or Not Part 1 and the movie Ready or Not Part 2 is about the Rothschild. And when you start digging into theories around elite families, you keep hearing the same stories. Secret rituals, strict bloodlines, keeping wealth circulated within the same circles, generation after generation. Some even believe that's how certain families built their influences so deep. It reaches into the governments, banks, and global decisions. That ain't something you see. That's something you feel when patterns start lining up. So now think about it differently. Was Ready or Not just a wild horror movie or a symbolic warning about what might exist?
What press?
From a radio station in San Bernardino. I know there's a conspiracy about the space shuttle. No, I want to be polite.
There she is. This person approached Judy Resnick and attempted to politely engage with her regarding the Challenger shuttlecraft mission.
Hey, Judy? How you doing? I'm from the press. I just had a quick question, if you don't mind.
What press?
From a radio station in San Bernardino. I know there's a conspiracy about the space shuttle. No, I want to be polite.
There she is.
Friendly, just a question.
And there she goes.
So there's a lot of rumors about you being on that space shuttle. Obviously, you know, if you want to comment, we would really appreciate it.
So unlike Michael J. Smith, who ended up basically having a full-fledged conversation with the individual, she just effed right off. Which, depending on your stance, could be evidence for or against. But it tends to lean on the side of eyebrow rising. So here they all are.
Pilot Mike Smith, followed by Krista McAuliffe, teacher in space, Ellison Onizuka, and payload specialist Greg Jarvis.
So one question that's been brought up a lot is that if they did show them entering the space shuttle, how did they get out? Where did they go? Because as you know, when it goes up, they would have to go somewhere, be tucked away somewhere, pretty safe. And here's the answer to that question.
Once the crew are on board, if it looks as if they're in danger, they get out and head down this tube, specially insulated against fire, and zigzagging down not to some point out and away from the rocket, but to an escape room exactly where you'd think it shouldn't be. 3.5 minutes after they get the warning in the capsule, the crew could be down here in the blast escape room via that 200-foot escape tube, 40 feet below the base of the rocket.
It's up to be like, oh, but Americans aren't well traveled. They can't point out where Switzerland is on a map.
Brit in America here, and I now know why Americans aren't well traveled. Trust me, they are well traveled, but there's a reason why. I've spent many months in America, like actively trying to get to as many states as possible in America. And I haven't even scratched the surface. Americans don't need to venture outside America because America is that big. Americans go on vacation in America. I'm in the UK back home. It can take me 45 minutes to get to France, Germany, right? Amsterdam. These are whole different countries across water. 45 minutes. I just don't think Europeans are clued up on how big America really is. Like, Americans don't need to venture out. You'll be surprised that a lot of Americans will not have passports. They don't need them. Every single state in America is like its own country. Literally like its own country. Isn't like the UK where things are similar. In America, you go to a different state, it's like a whole different world. So now I get it why Americans aren't well traveled. Americans are well traveled, just in their own country. Their country is massive, mate. I don't think people really understand the scale and the size of America. It is insane.
They're in the shape of a torus. Now when you create magnets in that shape, watch this. When you look down the torus hole, it makes a field in the golden ratio. Those are magnetic balls in that magnetic field. They naturally self-organize in the same shape as molecular bonds. We're just getting started. When you draw the pattern of what those balls make, you get the pattern that we've seen since ancient times. The ancient Chinese food dogs are guarding this. It's burned into a rock in Egypt. Daddy Da Vinci has it in his notebook. You have this pattern inside of you. That's what cell division looks like. When you connect the lines of the circles, then something even crazier comes out. It creates the simplest pattern you can divide 3D space up into. The pattern's hidden in the ancient Sumerians' Tree of Life. That's the first civilization ever. Almost every ancient tradition had a Tree of Life, which is also a little strange. But the Hebrew mystics had this Tree of Life called the Sephiro. 10 of those trees of life, when you rotate them around, create the same pattern up there. That is a staggering amount of coincidences. There's actually so many symbols in that shape, I can't really cover it in.
If you go to China, they're piloting it a few years ago in Shenzhen. So I lived overseas. If you go to Shenzhen, back in 2017, they already had facial recognition cameras there. So if you jaywalked in Shenzhen, they would immediately detect that and send you a notification. And they would deduct money from your, what they call WeChat account. They use two main apps, WeChat and Alipay. So you can actually deduct your money directly from your account. This is 4 years ago, so this is not like some sort of conspiracy theory. It's not something that's going to happen 10 years into the future. This happened in China. And so this system in China that exists is extremely advanced. They can detect if it's a man or a woman. They can guess your age. They can detect what kind of car model it is, who the manufacturer is. This is a sort of technology that we see in all these dystopian sort of films and whatever. And people keep putting it off and thinking that this is something that's going to happen later in my kid's lifetime or my grandkids. It's already here. And if this gets implemented anywhere, especially in a Western nation, it's not going away.
The movie Juwanna, man, was about a male basketball player who entered into the WNBA as a female. And here we are 20 years later talking about we're going to save that for later. It's called predictive programming. When you see something that happened back then that is currently happening now, that means they planned it in advance and years ahead of its time. Right? It ain't by no coincidence. And to prove it's not a coincidence, we're going to get into this gematria. Remember, I will teach you. Brittany equals 42 and Joanna equals 42. So the man who played Joanna Mann in the movie, his name was Jamal Jeffries. Jeffries equals 42 and Mann, Joanna Mann. Mann equals 42. Yesterday, on December 8th, Brittany Griner was released from the Russian prison. If you add up the 12 plus the 8 plus the 22, it's going to equal 42. Ladies and gentlemen, we call that date numerology. So how do we know that this whole story is BS and manufactured? When she was arrested, it was on February 17th of this year. They let her out on Thursday, December 8th. That is a total of 42 weeks on the nose. So in proving that Brittany Griner and Joanna Mann are basically one and the same,
Aristotle Onassis, the richest man in the world at the time, back in the 60s, said that if he was flat broke, he would do one thing, and he said, and I learned this in the secret society. He goes, that one thing is I would go to physical locations, whether it was a restaurant or a club or something, where a yacht club or something, where wealthy people are, and I would be in the same room with them. Don't have to meet anybody, don't have to talk to anybody. He said I would just be in the same physical space as wealthy people. And he said he learned this ritual from the secret societies when he was a part of them. Because being in the same space of wealthy people means you are in the energy field of people who have big, expanded dreams.
It's him.
Greetings, your tintiness, imperious leader of Hollywood.
Burning question. Are the Illuminati real? And if so, why haven't I been invited? Garfield, where are you? I know you know. I know you know. Now, for those of you experienced...
Yeah, I was like, and then, I don't know if you've had this, but I've had people throw millions of dollars in my face to do something I didn't want to do. And, what? Just, you've been off, yeah. Oh, they're in the room.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
That was my way of choosing it. Like, it's open dialogue.
Yeah, you want me to keep talking about it?
By all means, we can keep talking about anything.
But don't do it.
Yeah,
Did you know, according to the Book of Enoch, that each of the 200 fallen angels basically became the world's worst teachers and taught humans everything that was supposed to be forbidden knowledge? So get this, Azazel taught men how to make swords, knives, shields, and armor for war. But he also taught women how to make eye makeup, jewelry, and cosmetics. Like apparently mascara was forbidden knowledge. Then you had Amazarak teaching enchantments, while Armas taught how to break spells. Barakajal taught astrology, Kokorel taught star signs, Tamiel taught astronomy, and Asradel taught about the moon's course. But here's where it gets really wild. Gadriel apparently taught humans how to make weapons of war, and was the one who taught Eve to eat from the forbidden tree in Eden. Talk about a resume. And Penemy taught humans the bitter and the sweet and showed them how to write with ink and paper. Yes, according to Enoch, writing was forbidden knowledge from fallen angels. The text claims that from all this teaching came godlessness, fornication, and corruption. So basically everything from makeup to writing to astronomy came from rebellious angels trying to mess with humanity.
This is a really good one. You're going to want to hear this.
Delay is the first proof that the dream is real. If your reward were meant to be small, it would have arrived by now. But the fact that you are waiting, the fact that it has not yet come, is not proof of denial. It is the first and greatest proof that the dream you carry is of substance. Delay is heaven's way of verifying whether your desire is a spark or a flame. Only flames are worthy of fuel. The size of your dream determines the size of your delay. A man who wishes for ease will be given quickly what he asks. But the man who dares to demand greatness, he will be delayed, not because he is forgotten, but because the structure must be fortified first. Too many lose heart in the delay because they believe the silence means denial. But silence is not opposition. It is refinement. It is the pause.
If I told you Epstein never died, his Moloch God protected him.
Why would they kill him now? He went to jail for the same crimes the whole night.
I told you, Larry. How could you fucking? I was locked up there 100 times. There's no way you could.
It's really double jeopardy. He had amassed a lot of information on people.
Was he a Mossad?
He was definitely groomed by Mossad for sure. And then at the same time, you know, this guy was having some of the most brilliant minds on the planet.
Yeah.
On his island for research purposes, big science conferences.
Right.
But the only thing that connects all of these people together is who they consider God. That's why he have a temple dedicated to Moloch on his island.
What's
the god of child sacrifice.
Oh, Moloch. Yeah, okay.
Now we talking. Yeah, they
go
all
down
that way with him.
Yeah, let's go down.
Pull up the video of Lady Gaga swearing to.
I'll learn we're on a fucking world stage. Nothing's gonna be surprising to you. They got literally a card game, Illuminati card game with all these damn pre-planned events on it. Like, it's just real simple shit you can look at and be like, oh yeah, this is a simulation.
One slow, steady breath. And as you slowly follow your breath and you contract those intrinsic muscles, as you follow your breath and you bring that breath all the way up to that pineal gland, and you hold your breath and you keep your attention on that pineal gland, that's your target. The act of contracting those muscles, along with the holding of your breath, would begin to push cerebral spinal fluid right up into your brain. And as you begin to hold your breath, you're pushing that cerebral spinal fluid right up against the crystals of the pineal gland and applying a mechanical stress. And then the mechanical stress begins to electrically activate those crystals. And when those crystals become electrically activated, we are turning on the radio receiver in the brain.
The greatest conspiracy of all time is sitting out in Washington, D.C. It's also here at the Vatican. This is the ancient structural representation of the womb of Isis. This is the ancient structural representation of the erect male phallus of Osiris. Your capital city is laid out as a magical construct based on ancient Egyptian beliefs for the exact purpose of raising Osiris from the dead so that he could be incarnated within every U.S. president. That's the way the city's laid out. It's also laid out that way at the Vatican. It was dedicated to Osiris, Isis, and the sun god Ra. And when Sixtus the Pope brought it there, he tried to conduct an exorcism on it to cast the spirit of Osiris out of it before planting it in the center of the Vatican City. All right, there's a reason why the Washington Monument has a magic square in its base where a Bible is bound. There's a reason there's a magic 666 square above that altar in the house of the temple where I was at. There's a reason there are 72 pentagrams. In their Gnosticism, they believe 72 demons control the nations of the earth, and they have bound them at the base of the apotheosis of Washington. This is the underbelly of the U.S. Capitol Dome. It's called the apotheosis of George Washington, which means to become a god.
If a person would sit down and let their body relax, totally relax, and then start to visualize in their mind, see themselves the way they want to see themselves, see how you'd like to live your life, see yourself living it that way.
Okay.
Now understand that that's a picture in your mind. Take that picture and describe it, write it out in the present tense. I am so happy now that I see myself, and write it out. Start to read it, and read it, and read it, and read it every day. Carry it around and keep reading it. The one point that all the great teachers, all down through history, have all agreed on, they've been in complete unanimous agreement on it, we become what we think about. Now, it may be fantasy at first, it might even appear to us as being a lie. But if you read it often enough, you'll start to believe it.
All right, kid, here's the deal. At any given time, there are around 1,500 aliens on the planet.
No
most
way.
of them right here in Manhattan. And most of them are decent enough. They're just trying to make a living. Cab drivers. Not as many as you'd think. Humans, for the most part, don't have a clue. They don't want one or need one either. They're happy. They think they have a good bead on things.
Wow. It's just a movie.
Well, why a big secret? People are smart. They can handle it. A person is smart. People are dumb, panicky, dangerous animals, and you know it.
No.
1,500 years ago, everybody knew the Earth was the center of the universe. 500 years ago, everybody knew the Earth was flat.
No.
15 minutes ago, you knew that people were alone on this planet.
What is Tommy talking about? What does he mean? There's 1,500 aliens in Manhattan, and that was a long time ago. It's 2026 now. Shh! Shut up! He said that some of them are cab drivers. Are you kidding me? He even said that some of them are trying to make a living. They're already not from here, and they want to take our jobs. Stop playing with me, son. This video is for entertainment purposes only. I don't know what they're talking about, guys, because it's just a movie. Aliens don't exist. Shh! Shut up! Listen, they told us a long time ago, but as always, we thought it was just a movie. Or like always. Shh! Shut up! Listen, it's going down, guys. Tommy Lee said it. You better watch out for those cab drivers, especially those yelly taxi ones. Stop playing with me, son. I came on here, guys. You know what it is. Shh! Shut up! But I'll tell you one thing. If I ever get into a yellow cab, and that cab driver's giving me alien vibes, not today, buddy. I seen it.
Bitch, I gotta get some move. In my pockets, I got cheese, I got do. I got product, move it, ship it for the loot.